Welcome to another Read Aloud book tour. Today I'll be featuring The Selection by New York Times bestseller Kiera Cass. Chapter 1. When we got the letter in the post, my mother was ecstatic. She had already decided that all our problems were solved, gone forever. The big hitch in her brilliant plan was me. I didn't think I was a particularly disobedient daughter, but this was where I drew the line. I didn't want to be royalty, and I didn't want to be a one. I didn't even want to try. I hid in my room, the only place to avoid the chattering of our full house, trying to come up with an argument that would sway her. So far, I had a solid collection of my honest opinions. I didn't think there was a single one she would listen to. I couldn't avoid her much longer. It was approaching dinner time, and as the oldest child left in the house, cooking duties fell on me. I pulled myself out of bed and walked into the snake pit. Alrighty, page 1 discussion. It's only half a page, but the introduction to the book has a few things that caught my attention. One, it is definitely dystopian, meaning it's very similar to Hunger Games, Maze Runner, and Legend. She mentions that there's some sort of caste system. She doesn't want to be a one. The one is capitalized, so that must be some sort of caste or group of people that's higher. She doesn't want to be royalty. The way that the author immediately grips us with this mystery. What is this letter all about? Why does she not want to see the letter? Right? That kind of catches my attention. And then the next part where she says, I've got all these reasons I don't want to fill this thing out, and my mom just really wants me to. So far, I'm mildly intrigued because of the mystery and the fact that she's just a teenage girl like any other who doesn't want to do what her mom wants her to do. Let's see what she's got for us on the next few pages. I got a glare from Mom, but no words. We did a silent dance through the kitchen and dining room as we prepared chicken, pasta, and apple slices and set the table for 5. If I glanced up from a task, she'd fix me with a fierce look as if she could shame me into wanting the same things she did. She tried that every so often. Like if I didn't want to take on a particular job because I knew the family hosting us was unnecessarily rude, or if she wanted me to do a massive cleaning when we couldn't afford to have a 6 come and help. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't, and this was one area where I was unswayable. She couldn't stand it when I was stubborn. But I got that from her, so she shouldn't have been surprised. This wasn't just about me, though. Mom had been tense lately. The summer was ending, and soon we'd be faced with cold and worry. Mom set down the pitcher of tea in the center of the table with an angry thud. My mouth watered at the thought of tea with lemon, but I would have to wait. It would be such a waste to have my glass now and then have to drink water with my meal. Would it kill you to fill out the form? She said, no longer able to contain herself. The selection could be a wonderful opportunity for you, for all of us. I sighed aloud, thinking that filling out that form might actually be something close to death. It was no secret that the rebels, the underground colonies that hated Ilia, our large and comparatively young country, made their attacks on the palace both violent and frequent. We'd seen them in action in Carolina before. One of the magistrates' houses was burned to the ground, and a handful of twos had their cars vandalized. There was even a magnificent jailbreak once, but considering they only released a teenage girl who'd managed to get herself pregnant and a 7 who was a father to 9, I couldn't help thinking they were in the right that time. But beyond the potential danger, I felt like it would hurt my heart to even consider the selection. I couldn't help smiling as I thought about all the reasons I had to stay exactly where I was. These last few years have been very hard on your father, she hissed. If you had any compassion at all, you might think of him. Dad. Yeah, I really did want to help Dad, and May, and Gerard, and I suppose even my mother. When she talked about it that way, there was nothing to smile about. Things had been strained around here for far too long. I wondered if Dad would see this as a way back to normal, if any amount of money could make things better. It wasn't that our situation was so precarious that we were living in fear of survival or anything. We weren't destitute. But I guess we weren't that far off either. Our caste was just 3 away from the bottom. We were artists, and artists and classical musicians were only 3 steps up from dirt, literally. Pages 2 and 3 offer us a slow introduction to the book. We've got this tension between mom and daughter, pretty common for teenagers. She also talks about this paragraph on page 2 where she talks about having iced tea. It seems to be unimportant, yet I notice that she can only have 1 glass of tea a night, which indicates to me that this family is not well off because the girl can't have any refills. So it's a clever way for our author, Kira Cass, to introduce their poverty without coming out and saying, we're poor, which would be pretty base level writing. On the next page, we have an introduction to the dystopian features of the novel. We have Ilia, a comparatively young country. We have Carolina, so it sounds somewhere in America. It has a state name, sort of. We've got this caste system that's further explained. There were 2s that had their cars vandalized and 6s do the housework. And then they tell us that the family is pretty low on the caste system because they're artists and classical musicians, and so they're pretty poor. There is one little ray of mystery further explained here where it says that she has this smile on her face at the thought of all the reasons why she should stay exactly where she is. So for a girl who argues with her mom and is pretty poor in this caste system, we kind of wonder, why is she smiling about all the reasons she has to stay in this caste? I'm mildly intrigued. I'd like to keep reading and see what this selection and this letter are all about. I hope that's caught your attention for The Selection by Kira Cass. I hope it hooks you to be a reader. See you next time on the next Read Aloud book tour.